Welcome to Omnivorous 13. Have you ever met someone who suddenly disappears, just when things get serious? Or maybe you are the one who runs away the moment you feel too close to someone. It happens quietly, almost instinctively. You feel warmth, tenderness, then suddenly fear. Your heart says stay, but your mind screams run. This invisible force guiding our relationships is called attachment. It starts long before we ever fall in love. In fact, it begins the moment we are born. When we cry, when someone picks us up, or when no one does, our brain takes notes. It learns what safety feels like and what danger feels like. If you grew up in a stable, loving environment, your brain learned that love is safe. But if you grew up with chaos, coldness, or fear, love became confusing. Sometimes a gift, sometimes a weapon. This early blueprint silently shapes every romantic story that follows. Research suggests that about 50% of people develop a secure attachment. They can give and receive love without too much fear. But for the other half, things are not so simple. Some people have what psychologists call avoidant attachment. They crave love, but fear losing their freedom. They protect themselves by staying distant, emotionally unavailable, even when they care deeply. Others have anxious attachment. They feel unsafe when love feels uncertain. They cling. They worry. They check their phone waiting for a reply, desperate for reassurance. None of this happens consciously. It is the body remembering what it once needed to do to survive. Juliette, for example, thought she was in control of her relationships. She decided how close to get, when to step back, until she met Lucas. Suddenly she was no longer the one in charge. The possibility that he could leave her awakened something old inside her. A panic she could not explain. That is what attachment fear looks like. It is not about the present moment, it is about the past echoing through it. Others, like Thomas, learned to survive by disconnecting. He grew up with a violent father and later betrayal from people he trusted. For him, emotional distance was protection. But it also became a prison. Even when surrounded by people, he felt alone, unseen, unreachable. Attachment wounds are not visible. You cannot see them on a scan. But they live in our nervous system, in the way we breathe when someone gets too close, in how we react to silence or distance. They live in the patterns we repeat. Every breakup that feels the same. Every partner who triggers the same pain. And yet, there is hope. Because attachment is not destiny. It can be healed. Healing begins when we start recognizing these patterns without shame. When we stop blaming others or ourselves and begin to ask, why am I reacting this way? That moment of awareness is powerful. It breaks the automatic cycle. It lets us respond instead of react. Therapy, mindfulness, and authentic relationships can help rebuild what was missing. One man shared that after years of believing he was unworthy of love, he began therapy and slowly discovered that being loved was not something to earn. It was something to receive. Another woman realized that every time she felt suffocated in a relationship, she was not reacting to her partner, but to a memory of her childhood when love came with control. It is never too late to rewrite our emotional story. The brain is plastic. It changes with new experiences, new patterns, and new forms of love. But it requires courage. The courage to stay when you want to run, to listen when you want to hide, to trust even when it feels unsafe. The truth is that love always carries a risk. To love means to expose the most fragile part of ourselves. But that is also where the beauty lies. Attachment follows us from cradle to grave. It shapes how we see ourselves and others. But healing it means learning a new kind of safety, one that comes from within, not from someone else. So if you have ever found yourself pushing love away or chasing it too hard, take a breath. You are not broken. You are healing something that started long before you could even speak. Follow Omnivorous 13 to stay updated every day and to keep me motivated to bring more deep stories like this about the unseen battles inside us, the psychology of love, and the ways we can truly heal. Because understanding why we fear love is the first step to finally letting it in.